Hello again and welcome to Inside Wyoming Football with head coach Craig Bohl. We're broadcasting as always right here in the Marion H. Rochelle Gateway Center. And on Saturday, the Cowboys welcomed in their old rival, the Colorado State Rams. It was border war number 107. And Coach, this was a game where you got to tip your hat to your opponent. I thought they played very, very well, but I also think the Cowboys made some progress, or at least got better in the second half of this game.
Well, we certainly did, but it came down to physicality. Colorado State was an older veteran team. They played like one. They didn't have a lot of turnovers. Unfortunately, we turned the ball over too much. I thought our guys responded well in the second half, but we have to recognize you got to play a whole football game. We're going to learn from this and move forward. It's always great to be in these rivalry games. It's not great to come up on the losing end, though.
You bet. Well, let's go to Jonah Field at War Memorial Stadium Saturday afternoon. It was a beautiful day. Cowboy Joe's ready. There you see some of the fans. And here we go, Coach, the Cowboys and the Rams.
Well, it certainly was a glorious afternoon for a time in November. Here you can see our defense. At the start, the first two plays, we really played well, playing with a lot of emotion, and they were able to convert on a key third down play and put the ball deep down in their territory. Here you can see the running back came and launched himself and scored a touchdown. It was, concerning for us not to come out with a fast start, and now we're down 17-0, and certainly not where we want to start, and that was disappointing. It was kind of a combination of not playing great defense and turning the ball over. Here you can see us come up with that's Nico Evans on a jet sweep, and we did generate some offense in the first half, not near enough to be effective. Colorado State comes back. Good throw, and actually this is the interception by Andrew Wingert, who hails from the Denver area. Andrew's got a bright future. You're going to see a couple shots here, him going up. We teach our defensive backs to go up and catch the ball at the highest point, which you can see Andrew do. Brings his foot down. He read the quarterback's eyes. You can see he got a great break on the football there and secured the football, and that kept some points off the board. Our offense came back. Here's a wheel route to Nick Smith to Brian Hill. Good throw and a good catch. Thought Nick came in and really competed hard. He took a lot of hard shots. So here's another throw. This was, I believe, I think that's James Price, another true freshman that's playing out there. James did a nice job during the course of the game. Nick's back to pass again here, and we're in the shotgun formation, and this is also a run. That's Kellen Overstreet. Kellen does a nice job for us as our number 2 running back. And as we go along in the game here you can see this is getting into the second half, and it was kind of a tale of two different halves. We had a hard time stopping Colorado State in the rushing game in the first half. The second half, we held Colorado State to 75 total yards. Here you can see a free safety blitz by Andrew Wingert. And this is a really impressive play. This is a complex read that Andrew has, and you can see him come and dip and find the right slot that he needs to be in, and does a good job wrapping the guy up. Later on in the game here, we're coming up with a drive. This is Kellen Overstreet again, a good job by our offensive line, creating some holes, trying to get deep in the Colorado State territory. Colorado State comes back, and once again, you can see our defense rallying around the football, gang tackling better. Our coaches made some nice adjustments at halftime, and certainly were the right adjustments. Colorado State comes back, and this is a great play by Eddie Yarborough. I think it's another sack or a tackle for loss. Eddie, who hails from the Denver area, has just been a tremendous player for us and a great leader, and it's encouraging him to see him come up with a big play like this. Wyoming comes back. Here we are, and that's another throw and catch to James Price. Does a nice job. That's a timing route. Nick put the ball where it needed to be, and James ran a good route. And this is a fourth down quarterback sneak, and this shows some strength by Nick Smith. Nick took a lot of hits during the course of this game, but he kept on competing. And here's a sprint option that we ran. We put in to score late in the ball game. You know what? I understand it may not have a big effect on the game, but it does show an exclamation point that our guys are in the fight and they're going to continue to compete. A nice job by Nick in flipping the ball out to Brian Hill for a touchdown. And we did put 7 points on the board, which was encouraging here. And we'll build off this. That's a good job of blocking by Joe Parker. You can see the time of possessions tilted heavily in Colorado State's favor. Penalties were actually Colorado State had more penalties, but their yardage was too much. We need to hold them down.
Well, Coach, yeah, and you look at those stats, those turnovers are huge, always are, it seems, but the Cowboys did come back, and you brought it up. You said this is all about getting better with this young team, and I thought they did in the second half of this game.
Well, they certainly did, and what we've got to be able to do is start faster. And turnovers in a game like this are going to be critical. Colorado State had turned the ball over an awful lot. Coach Bohl, I know, had made a point of emphasis to ball security. They did a good job with it. We didn't do very well at that.
Well, stay with us. We have more to come on Inside Wyoming Football with head coach Craig Bohl. We're back right after this timeout.
Inside Wyoming Football with Craig Bohl is brought to you by your Magnificent 7 Wyoming Toyota dealers, Wyoming Relay, the University of Wyoming International Programs Office, and the University of Wyoming Outreach School.
He has been called upon to guide the Cowboy offense, and he has done quite a job, really. Redshirt freshman Nick Smith from Merritt Island, Florida, has come on to quarterback the Cowboys. A chance to sit down and get to know quarterback Nick Smith.
He'll turn, fake the give. Smith rolling right. He's going to keep it. He goes in. Touchdown, Cowboys. Was over street. He's going to throw it, though, and he throws to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown, Cowboys.
I think I've grown a lot just personally and in myself as a football player. I think coming out here was a big step for me, and being so far away from home, but yet having family close by, and it was a good feeling knowing family was close. But ever since I've been the starting role, I've just felt like I've gained a lot more confidence in myself, and I've felt more comfortable just with everything and dealing with the games and that aspect of it. So I think just overall, I've grown a lot in my personality and my confidence in myself. I think early on it was just establishing that comfort and that confidence early on, because I knew I had the ability to do well and to play well. But I just think going out there for the first time, there was a lot of nerves, and having to deal with my emotions was a big learning experience for me. And I think being able to overcome that and move on and just kind of handle the new aspects of a college football game for the first time has really just helped me, and I've seen the most growth. Yeah, I feel like as the weeks got on, the more time I got in, the guys really started to just connect, and we started to gel really good. And the more time we had practice with each other, the more we could kind of just talk about things and really fit and come together as one group. And I felt like I was able to fit in that role fairly well and help this team and help the offense out as much as I could. And I knew it was an important role, and it's vital towards our offense and towards our team to kind of have a good leader. And I just wanted to do everything I can to help this team move forward as best as I could. Yeah, each week you just had to prepare you had the opportunity to play. You had to practice and prepare on and off the field as hard as you could, and you just couldn't expect to go in, but you also had to know that in a couple plays some things can happen throughout the course of a game, and you had to be ready. So you just had to prepare, and for me, I prepared as best as I could with the amount of reps I got and with the amount of time I put into, the film sessions and with coach, and I just had to be ready and as best as I could. And when the moment called, you just, make sure that preparation paid off.
Well, Nick Smith was pressed into duty earlier this season and had to come off and perform and do his best. And Coach, he has given great effort, and he has done really a pretty good job for the Cowboys at quarterback.
Well, he certainly has, and he walked into a tough situation. We've got a pretty young group, and he's out there quarterbacking, and a lot of times a quarterback has so many moving parts. Nick is a bright young man. He's a great competitor, and we really appreciate his efforts.
course, he has some bloodlines. His
Yep.
grandfather was an All-American running back at Colorado.
You know, I was a great high school football coach at Denver South, Coach Stransky, and several of our players have played for Coach Stransky, and their family has some family history up at Wyoming. So it really made a nice connection recruiting Nick, and really enjoyed getting to know his family.
Yeah, he's done quite a job. Quarterback Nick Smith for the Wyoming Cowboys. And you stay with us. We do have more to come here on Inside Wyoming Football with head coach Craig Bohl. We're back right after this. Cowboy punter and kickoff man Ethan Wood has been solid for Wyoming ever since he came on campus. Let's get to know Ethan Wood a little bit better. Our own Kevin McKinney had a chance to sit down and talk to Ethan Wood.
So, a lot of football players say that kickers aren't football players. How do you answer that?
Say kickers are people too. The common phrase, but I mean, we're more important than people understand, and that's something I've also realized since I've been here, that we can also make a huge difference on the field, whether or not people understand that.
A lot of pressure on kickers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that?
It's become easier. I love the pressure. I always have. You get comfortable after I've been here for, this is my third season, but you kind of just begin to trust yourself. I get back there and go, how many times have I done this? Why should I be that nervous? So.
You have a good connection with your long snapper, I would assume.
Yes, Brendan Torelli, we spend quite a bit of time together on the sidelines, just joking around and also, getting work done both on and off, like in season and out of season. But yeah, we get along pretty well.
So your background when you came to Wyoming, you had punted?
No.
You had never punted before. How'd that happen?
So I didn't punt in high school. I just kicked a few field goals my senior year, partway through the season. And then I got a kicking coach over that summer, and he tried to help me with punting and kicking. I hated punting, but he told me to stay with it. So I did, and then when I got to school here, I wanted to just kick field goals, but then the punter quit, and so they were kind of like, well, this is your chance to make the team. So, I was going to do whatever it took to get playing time, whether that was punt or kick.
Would you rather kick it straight away or do that rugby deal?
I'd rather just kick it straight away. It's more comfortable, more, that's what the professional level does, and I'd rather, do that because it's proven to be most effective.
Of course, you were a soccer player.
Yes.
And did it come down to football or soccer by the time you were done with high school, or did you want to play football?
Yes, I had gotten sort of sick of soccer, just playing it year-round for, since I was 4, about 14 years. So definitely got a little tired of it, and I think it was my junior year of high school. That's when I realized that I didn't really want to go to college for it. I would have had that football season of my senior year not happen, just to help my parents with money and get some sort of scholarship. But after I played that football season, I said, what, I'd much rather do this than play soccer.
So you mentioned your parents, and it was such a tragedy for your family, and all of us felt that way about it, Ethan. And how did you get through that period when it was so difficult?
My siblings really came together, helped me out, and we all just helped each other out. We had always been really close, but what had happened with my parents definitely made us grow closer together. And now we talk weekly on the phone, and they'll come to my games. They hadn't really come to my games before that happened, but they loved to support me, and so it pretty much brought us closer together.
Your family loaded with athletes. It seems like all of them competed in something or other. Who's the best athlete?
Best all-around athlete, probably my brother Josh. He always was the strongest. He wasn't the fastest, but he could, I don't know, it's hard to say because my other brothers were track athletes, so they weren't as strong, but they were faster, could probably jump a little higher. So it's definitely hard to say. I wouldn't say I'm the best athlete by any means.
Have you thought about fake punt, running the ball?
I think about it regularly, every day. When I'm watching film, just when I'm out on the field, just looking for little cues to think, oh, next time this happens, I should just run it.
Cowboy punter and kickoff man Ethan Wood. He really has been solid, Coach. And here's a young man that really had to overcome some personal tragedy in his family and in his life. I get the feeling this Cowboy team has really gathered around. He is a part of a big family, I get the feeling.
He certainly has accepted this football team as his family. And, you know, when you go through challenging times like that, to have some anchors really is important. Ethan also has been a real taskmaster to be able to double as a punter and then along with that as a kickoff guy. That's not an easy task to do, and he's really done a very good job. And, you know, much of what he does has everything to do with field position for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and we'll always think of Ethan, I think, early the rugby-style punter. Now he's been kind of put in a more normal situation, and he's performed very well in that situation.
Well, we've gone from a rugby-style punt. We still have that in our arsenal, but we've gone to precision punting, and he's really done a great job with that, placing the ball where it needs to be, along with some great hang time.
Yeah, he really is. And obviously, inspirational leader on this team, I think. Going back to, you know, this team really has rallied around Ethan Wood, and he's done the same.
Well, a lot of times specialists are operating a little bit of a vacuum, and so sometimes they're not as engaged with the rest of the team, but you can't find a person in that locker room doesn't have a great deal of respect and admiration for Ethan, and they've all gotten to know him, and he's gotten to know a lot of our guys as well.
Well, I'll say Ethan Wood, a special Cowboy to be sure. Stay with us. We have more to come on Inside Wyoming Football with head coach Craig Bohl. We're back right after this timeout.
Inside Wyoming Football with Craig Bohl is brought to you by your Magnificent 7 Wyoming Toyota dealers, Wyoming Relay, the University of Wyoming International Programs Office, and the University of Wyoming Outreach School.
Well, the San Diego State Aztecs are up next for the Wyoming Cowboys. Wyoming will travel to San Diego State Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, the kickoff. San Diego State, one of the better teams, of course, in the Mountain West Conference. And who better to get a scout on the Aztecs? We'll get it from defensive coordinator and linebackers coach Steve Stannard.
I think Coach Long's done a great job. He knows who he wants to be, and that's who they are right now. They're a physical outfit on both sides of the ball. You know, they run the ball. They're committed to running the football. They're not going to get into a lot of fancy stuff, but they're going to come downhill at you. Got a big offensive line, probably the biggest offensive line in the Mountain West Conference, and some quick, fast backs coming right behind him. He's a pro-style quarterback who can get himself out of trouble, has good pocket awareness, strong arm, will get the ball down the field, and you know, he'll make you pay if you have too many people in the box, and if you try to single up too often, he's going to let the ball fly, and he's got good accuracy on the deep ball. You know, I've known Coach Long a long time. He was a tough player. He's a tough coach. He produces some really good, tough football players and some tough defenses. I think his defenses are always some of the tops in any conference he's been a part of, anywhere he's coached. And so we got a lot of respect for Coach Long and his program. Well, it's similar to what we just faced schematically. They're going to run out of two-back set more than some of the others we faced. And so Colorado State was a good game for us to prepare for San Diego State. San Diego State is probably a little more physical up front than Colorado State. They got a little bit more seasoned group, bigger. You know, their two tackles are 6'7", 335. I mean, they got some big guys, and they do a good job with them. But yeah, similar to Colorado State, similar to you know, where we want to be offensively, and where we see ourselves being a tough physical outfit.
Well, the San Diego State Aztecs on top over in that other division, Coach, and Cowboys are headed to San Diego State to play the Aztecs on Saturday night. How about keys to the game? How do you see this one unfold?
Well, you know what, they're probably running the ball about as well as anybody in our league, and they're playing a very aggressive defense. We're going to need to establish the line of scrimmage. That's an easy thing to say, tough to do. The other thing we're going to need to do is create a lot more takeaways on defense. And for us to have an opportunity to beat arguably the best team in the league right now, we're going to need to be playing at our very best. I think you're going to see some of our starters come back. I think it's very likely Cam Kaufman's going to be playing, which is encouraging. And I think we'll be at full strength on defense, and we'll need all those players. Going on the road is always a challenge, but I do believe our young players have handled that well. The other thing we'll need to do is, it sounds simple, but get acclimated to a different surface. This is a natural grass field. A lot of teams have played out there, so we're going to have to get ourselves acclimated to that surface and make sure fundamentally we're sound to defeat a really good football team. Rocky Long, their head football coach, had spent time at Wyoming. He's one of the more noted dean of coaches in our conference. That team will be well prepared and wouldn't need to match their execution.
Yeah, we'll see two of the best backs in the conference, maybe in the country, in this game. Donnell Pumphrey, very good for San Diego State. Great challenge getting him contained.
Well, it's going to be, and I thought we made progress in the second half. You're going to see some similarities in the style of running game that San Diego State will have with Colorado State, so we'll need to respond well like we did in the second half.
Well, there you go. The Cowboys off to San Diego State Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. The kickoff for the Cowboys and the Aztecs. Well, that'll do it for us. Come back next time around and we'll take a look at the highlights of the Cowboys and the Aztecs right here on Inside Wyoming Football with head coach Craig Bohl. For the head coach, I'm Dave Walsh. So long, everybody.
Yeah, Stevens turns, fakes it to him, wants to throw, looks to the end zone. Lob, this is picked off, intercepted, and Drew Wingard back there to pick it off. Stevens back in the gun, fakes the inside handoff, wants to throw, and down he goes. He is sacked back at the 36-yard line by Eddie Yarbrough. Rolling right, going to pitch it to Hill. Hill to the 5, Hill is in. Touchdown, Cowboys.